Once you have some of the language needed to discuss what brings you pleasure, it can be hard putting this into practice because it does require some level of vulnerability. What I like to remember is that I'm not the only one that struggles with being vulnerable. Everyone does. So I asked a few of my friends.
So I definitely have that discussion. Typically I like to do it in person and before, but during sex, just to be clear. Honestly, it can be kind of sticky sometimes, but I feel like the only thing that keeps me going is knowing that what could be worse than having bad sex. Very, very important because overall sexual pleasure and making sure both people have a good experience is the whole point. So I guess the hard part is like surrounding the stigma around like talking about sexual pleasures and kinks and things like that. But once again, who wants to have bad sex? So you just gotta have those hard conversations.
Yeah, I would. I feel like it's important to do that, just so that both parties are comfortable in giving consent for all the activities that will take part. Um, I feel like it would be uncomfortable though, just because like I feel like it depends on how you grew up around the topic of sex. So I feel like when I would do it, probably definitely be before, like probably through text, honestly. I don't know if I could have that conversation in person. Because then it's like there's kind of like a barrier and like you can kind of take your time with responding and it just feels a lot more comfortable. It's just a lot to be vulnerable for one and to be vulnerable about pleasure and sex. Yeah. For people who were late bloomers or grew up in a sheltered environment revolving around sex, conversation starters would be extremely helpful.
Without conversations where we can clearly discuss what brings us pleasure, it is easy to try to ignore these combos because they can be hard to initiate. What I tell myself is that the best way to have mutually beneficial experiences is with a basis of mutual respect and being able to discuss what pleasure looks like for each of us. Pleasure negotiations as a starting point makes interactions more positive and pleasurable. It's important to remember that an enthusiastic yes is key to sexual acts, and that gracious acceptance of a no keeps experiences positive. Have fun.